The views expressed on the following program are not necessarily those of WPSL. However, we do encourage you to like, share them, and subscribe on YouTube, Facebook, and other social media. It's time for the Sue Ellen Sanders Show. Here's your host, the one and only Sue Ellen Sanders.
Welcome to the Sue Ellen Sanders Show, and I'm thrilled that we're starting to get back to normal, actually get back to abnormal. Trevor Noah is launching a tour, and that's what the name of his tour is. I thought that was a great idea, back to abnormal, because we never were normal to begin with. at least I wasn't. I don't know. Anyhow, my guest today on the Sue Ellen Sanders Show is Rosemary Knight, and she is co-founder and director and dishwasher and everything else for Treasure Coast Theater, which is Port St. Lucie's only community theater. And Rosemary, welcome to the show.
Thank you. I'm very happy to be here finally.
Yes, and you're happy to have your crew back on stage.
Absolutely.
You have had a heck of a lot of pivoting that you had to do. When March 2020 rolled around and things went dark, things went off. Yes.
Yeah. Our last show was, I think it was March 15th or 16th of 2020. We actually closed with a drama called Doubt. And unfortunately, the last weekend of the show, we lost half of our audience because people were canceling. That's when all the announcements of COVID broke out, and more than half of our audience canceled their tickets. So, and that was the last performance that we had on the stage. We closed down and, just kept trying to figure out a good time to reopen. And we are reopening as of July. So it's been a challenge, but, I've been sticking it out, and here we are.
Well, and in St. Lucie County, just over 50% of people have been immunized.
Exactly.
And a number of those have also had COVID and, may still carry that immunity. And your audience and your cast are mainly adult anyhow. And
Exactly.
the percentages for adults who have been immunized are even higher.
Exactly. Yeah, actually, most of my the cast and crew for the first few shows are immunized. I know I am. I'm pretty much everyone I know has either been immunized or has already gotten the virus. So we feel pretty confident that we're safe. And I would imagine that majority of the people that are going to come see the show are as well. Shows are as well. I am going to try for the first few performances to put a space between some seats. But given the fact that so many people are immunized, I don't think that's even necessary.
And also when people come to the shows, if they come in a group, they're going to sit in that group.
Exactly.
Anyhow.
Exactly.
So Treasure Coast Theater, you first opened your doors a couple of years ago?
April of 2019. So we had 11 full months of performances before we had to shut down. Yep. That's it.
So you were really just gaining traction.
Exactly. Had a very good first season. Well, we had a condensed first season. We opened in April of 2019. So our first season was only 7 shows. Our second season began in January 2020 and was supposed to end in November of 2020. But we canceled all of our performances after the March show. And in fact, we were just a week away from actually our tech week, our final week of rehearsals for our April show. And we had to shut production for that. So a lot of our shows for this season, and we decided to start the season in July and end it in June. So it's a little different from what we had planned, but our season is now July to June. And a lot of our shows for this coming season are shows that we were planning. It's a mix of shows we were planning to do in 2020 and shows we were already planning to do for 2021.
Actually, the last time I had you on the radio show was in March, right before COVID hit,
Yep.
March 2020. And
Yep.
I remember you talking about putting on the show A Few Good Men.
Exactly.
And how tough it was to cast a show that was an all-male cast, because
Yeah.
that's generally the hardest gender age group to get out to auditions for a show are adult males.
Exactly.
And look at, you had cast it.
Exactly. We had a full cast for that show. That should have told us something. But we had a full cast of actually 15, I think 15 men and 1 woman. And we have moved that show so many times. And unfortunately, because it was a year and a half ago, we lost a lot of the cast. And we were originally going to do the show in September, but we moved it to May 2022, so that we're going to have to recast some of the people for a number of reasons. I've had 2 cast members that have since moved out of state. I've had, unfortunately, a few young men who were supposed to play some of the younger Marines who were in high school and have since graduated and gone off to college. Some people had health issues. So we lost a lot of the cast, so we will have to recast that show. We're probably going to be looking at doing casting sometime in January for the May show. But hopefully we'll be just as fortunate casting it this time that we were last time.
And one of the things, the only reason I particularly bring up that show is because that was kind of the last show that we had discussed.
Yes and no. Actually, yeah. we were discussing 2 shows. The first one was Love, Loss, and What I Wore, which was the show that was supposed to come out at the very last weekend of March and into April. And we are actually going to do that show in September. Now, we lost a couple of cast members for that one as well. They both moved out of state. We've replaced them. We have a very strong cast, and that show will be going on in September. And then, as I said, A Few Good Men will be in May of 2022.
So as you said, some of your shows, some players had to be recast, mm-hmm. and that you have a mix of some of the shows you were planning on doing in 2020, in the second half of 2020, and then you have some new shows.
Exactly.
One of the things I really love about Treasure Coast Theater is you have rehearsals that are going on concurrently. Exactly. So you always have a new show opening. Mm-hmm. And there's a lot of opportunity both for people who want to try out for theater,
right.
Or try out, and you don't have to have experience to be part of community theater.
No, not at all. Right now, we are, you're saying we're rehearsing concurrently. We are right now rehearsing 4 separate shows. The first 4 shows that we are doing, 2 of them had already been cast, and we just had to replace a couple of people. And 2 of them, we kind of pre-cast them because of COVID, we just didn't want to put out, general auditions, and we knew who we wanted to cast the shows with. So we pre-cast those 2 shows. And we are rehearsing. So we're rehearsing around each other. One show is rehearsing on Saturdays only. One show is rehearsing before 7 o'clock, and the other 2 shows are taking turns rehearsing at 7 p.m. during the week. So yes, we're rehearsing 4 shows right now. But yeah, I mean, we have to we have to be creative because we don't have a lot of space. We're a very small theater. And in the past, we would use other locations for rehearsals. Hopefully we'll be able to do that again. I had an agreement with a local hotel to use their activities room. But nobody's opening their rooms up yet to outside groups. So hopefully soon we'll be able to do that again. But yes, but yeah, we don't have really a lot of professional actors. Our people are a mix. We have some people that are professional actors who do other things, and they're paid performers, and then we have people who just do community theater who are not professional. So it's a nice mix of people.
And you have a nice mix of shows too. So
Exactly.
you have a variety of different ages and different backgrounds that you're trying to cast. So your first show of the 2021 season then is going to be taking the stage in July, and that is?
It's called Southern Hospitality, and it is it's a very funny farcical comedy set in Texas. It's actually a sequel to a show that I did at the Pineapple Playhouse, St. Lucie Community Theater, about 8 years ago. And it has a little bit of a sentimental, it's a little sentimental for myself and my co-founder. It's the show we met on. And it was her first show back in theater in many, many years. And it was the first show that I had done in over a decade. And so it was, and I had one of the leads. So it's very sentimental for us to do this show because it's a sequel to that show. But you don't need to know what happened in the first show to know, to be able to watch this show. But it's a very funny show. It's about a family in Texas, and they're trying to save their little town. And there's a lot of miscommunication and family drama, but it's all for fun. And we're laughing every day when we're on stage. We're trying to keep it in. So I'm pretty confident that the audience will be laughing throughout the entire show. It's very good.
And it's an ensemble cast.
Exactly. There are 12 actors in the show.
And it's dysfunctional family.
Exactly.
Is what everybody can relate to.
Right. I mean, it's mostly sibling rivalries. It's 4 sisters and their families. And, there's sibling jealousies. You have one sister that has been married 5 times and she's looking for husband number 6. One sister that has 2 sets of twins. She's got two daughters that are married, and then 2 5-year-olds, and they're hellions. And you have one of her daughters and her new husband. Then there's the one sister who was engaged to one man for 14 years, broke up with him, and is trying to get her second fiance to marry her. And then I'm actually playing the oldest sister, who is actually, they discover her actually in the second show of this trilogy, where she is the illegitimate daughter of the father. And he had her with another woman before he married the mother. So, and these siblings are very close, but they're constantly squabbling. And then there's a whole set of wacky other characters in the town, and other relatives. So it's actually very funny, but it's dysfunctional, but it's warm and fun.
And if I remember from, let's see, the dress shop,
it's a similar, the last roundup of the Guacamole Queens was the second show that we did at the theater. And it's by the same playwrights, Hope Jones and Wooten. They write very funny Southern comedies. And the interesting thing is that this isn't part of that trilogy, but they mention the characters from that trilogy in this one. And in fact, one of the characters in this play was in that play. So he crosses from one trilogy to the other, and we cast the same actor to play the character. So that's actually kind of fun. But it's the same thing. It's a wacky family, another wacky family in a small town in Texas. They're trying to save the town because they're running out of money. The town's running out of money. The minister, who's the son-in-law of the main character, has been trying to become the permanent pastor of this town, and he hasn't been given the okay. And they're really worried they're going to have to close the whole town down because the town is running out of money, and they're trying to get a salsa factory to relocate there. And there's a lot of zany stuff that's happening while they're trying to get that to happen. So.
And if I remember the authors, the type of writing that it is, like you said, it's zany, dysfunctional family. And even though some of the activity is a little absurd, it's not that many steps above what you see every day.
No, right. And that's one of the things that I feel very strongly about. A lot of theaters make the mistake of taking a farce and making the characters caricatures. One of the things I feel really strongly about is when we do a farce, you want the characters to seem real. And that's exactly the way we approach it, so that you can associate, you can see yourself or people you know in these people. It's just that the situation's a little crazy. So they're real people that find themselves in crazy situations, but you can definitely identify with these characters.
Mm-hmm. And everybody likes to see people on stage that you can identify with.
Exactly.
Or you know, this show obviously is already cast because you're getting ready to hit the stage. But there are other shows that are similar to this that if you have a desire, there's a variety of different shows that you could try your hand at for the first time. A lot of people who do community theater kind of are cyclical about it. You know, maybe you do it before you had kids, and then you get busy for a while, or when your career really takes off and you don't have extra time, and so you don't do community theater, and then your life slows down a little bit more and you go back to community theater. So there's something for everybody.
Right. And that's actually my story. I was a drama major in college, did semi-professional and community theater through my 20s. As soon as I had my first child and I was very busy with a career, I stopped doing it. But then once my kids were, young teenagers, I got back into it, and I've been going strong ever since. So, and actually I've done some of it with my children. In fact, my daughter has been very involved in the theater, and she's directed a number of shows. She's been in a number of shows. In fact, she's directing 2 of the shows that we're doing this year. She's directing the October show, which is the classic The Glass Menagerie, and she's directing a Neil Simon show, which is going to close out the season, which is Broadway Bound. So yeah, we have a lot of families that are doing stuff together. We have some mothers and sons both involved, siblings involved. So there's a variety of people involved. And I feel really proud because in our August show, I was very involved in doing summer camps. And one of my campers from years back, who is now a junior in high school, she's actually involved in the August show, which is 5 women wearing the same dress. And one of her friends who she recommended, who's a senior, who just graduated, who actually played my daughter last season in August Osage County, they're both doing the show, and they're good friends, and they're teenagers. So, we are involving young kids. Actually, the first show that has not been cast is a show that you and I did together, which we're going to do again this November, which is another very funny comedy called In-Laws, Outlaws, and Other People That Should Be Shot. And we actually need a couple of young people in that show. We need 3 teenagers and a preteen. So yeah, and we need, you know, middle-aged people. We need older people. So, and that cast, I think there's 15 people in that cast. And then the very next show in January is Clue on Stage, which is based on the board game. And again, that show has not been cast, and we need a whole variety of ages for that one.
So when are you planning auditions for
probably, I haven't set the date yet, but it will be on our website, and we will be putting it out on Facebook probably in August. I think we're planning to do auditions at least for the November show sometime in August.
And so I'm glad you mentioned the website and the Facebook page, because this would be a good time to give a little bit more detail about that. We jumped right into talking about the shows that were coming up right around the corner, and the theater, and the fact that you are located in Port St. Lucie. You're in the shopping center that has bells. And what's the name of the shopping center?
It's called Town Center. It's right off of Jennings Road on US 1. And it's in the same plaza with Bells and Planet Fitness. We're right next door to Habitat for Humanity Restore. And there's a few other places. There's Witch. There's a bunch of businesses in there. So, you know, we're surrounded by a lot of nice businesses. But we're easy to find, which is nice.
And it's nice that a lot of the businesses are more day-based.
Yep.
So that gives you a whole parking lot to fill.
Exactly. Exactly. Yeah, I mean, most of the businesses right around us are closed in the evenings, and rehearsals at night, there's hardly any other cars. We're the only ones. So except for the matinee, the evening performances, there's plenty of parking anyway. It's a huge plaza. But especially for the evening performances, there's plenty of parking.
Right in front of the theater.
Exactly.
So the website for Treasure Coast Theater is, let's see. TreasureCoastTheater.com. Yes, Treasure Coast Theater, and it's TheaTre.
Yes, not ER, but RE at the end. Yes.
.com. And if you go onto the website, you can buy tickets on the website.
Exactly.
You can see what shows are coming up. You can find out about auditions.
Exactly.
Do you have a mailing list that people can sign up for there?
Yeah. We primarily do emails. We don't really mail too much, but we do have a mailing list, a newsletter list, so that anytime in fact, thank you for mentioning that, because when we do announce auditions, we will email people on our mailing list.
On your emailing list.
On my email list, correct.
It's funny because now when I'm talking about a mailing list, I'm really talking about an email list.
Exactly. Yeah. I don't mail out a whole lot. I do. I mean, people who don't have emails, I do mail them stuff, but it's very few people.
As far as your Facebook page too, a lot of the information for ticket sales and auditions and the theater information is on your Facebook page.
Exactly. Yeah. We actually have all the events on there. I think I have all the events for the next 4 shows on there. As soon as we announce auditions, that'll be on there as well. And as I said, if you like our Facebook page, you will get, if you like our Facebook page and agree to get notifications, you will be notified right away when auditions happen.
So you'll be notified when auditions happen, and also when you announce new shows.
Exactly.
Things of that nature. So how many shows do you have in the course of the 2021 season then?
Well, we're calling it the 21-22 season.
Okay.
And we have 11 shows.
Wow.
Yeah, so we're doing July to June, and the only month we don't have a show is December.
Now, compared to most community theaters, that's a lot of shows
It
that
is.
you're putting on in a year. Why the
Exactly.
difference?
Well, for one of the reasons, quite frankly, is it's a fairly small theater. We only have 54 seats compared to some other theaters that have over 100. So we do need to make up the difference by having more performances.
Mhm.
You know, because one of the things that a lot of people don't realize is when you do a show, you have to pay for rights, and you pay the same rights whether you have 50 seats or 200 seats. So
Wow.
it's the same rights. So yeah, and so we do need to make up the difference. So that's one of the ways we do it.
Each of your shows runs for a certain period of time. Is it the
Yes.
same for all of them?
Yeah, no. The two shows that we're doing in the summer, we're only doing for 2 weekends. We're starting off a little slower, but then starting in September, we do them for 3 weekends, and it's Friday and Saturday evening at 8 p.m. and then Sunday matinee at 2 p.m. The only show that does not have a third Sunday matinee is Prisoner of Second Avenue, because the last Sunday is Easter. So we're doing 2 performances on the last Saturday. We're doing a matinee and an evening performance on the last Saturday.
People can buy with the 10 different shows, 11 shows.
Well, there's 11 shows, yes. You can get, our tickets are $25 for the non-musicals and 30, we're actually doing one musical this year. We're doing Nonsense in February, and that's $30. If you have 10 or you buy tickets for 10 or more people for one performance, you get $3 off that price. And if you do a season ticket package, which is 5 or more shows, you save $5 off the ticket prices.
So if you're a group and you want to book ahead, like you want to for your garden club or
Right,
your
right.
bunco group or something of that nature, you can book at a group rate for
Mhm.
one show and
Exactly.
get $3 off the tickets
Yep.
for each person.
Yep.
And then
Exactly.
also make sure everybody's sitting together too,
Exactly.
which is a lot of fun.
Yeah, exactly. And we do have quite a few groups who do that.
Thankfully.
Well, right now we don't, but you know, tickets are starting to sell. You know, we did start announcing all the shows recently, so people are starting to come out, and they're very grateful that theater is still here.
And you know, if you're a little nervous about going to the theater, then going to a small theater that only seats 57 people is kind of a good place to start.
Yeah. And yeah, it's 54 people.
54, okay.
Right. And as I said, one of the things I am trying to do is, because I, you know, it would be nice if we sell it out. But as much as I can, I am trying to put like one seat between people. And one nice thing is that our seats are not right on top of each other. So there's a good foot at least between, you know, each row. So you're not right on top of the next person.
Well, if I remember correctly, you graded the rows so that every seat is a great seat in the house.
Yeah, it's about 6 or 7 inches above the row in front of it, and the seats are not, they're scattered, so you're not sitting right behind, you're sitting between 2 people, not right behind them.
Which is great, and that's something that you had to design when you put the seats in there.
Exactly.
Because you probably have sat behind somebody tall or wearing a hat in a show.
Exactly, because I'm not very tall. I mean, honestly, yeah, I mean, there's not a big gap between the people, but there's a little bit. And yeah, and we wanted to have a little bit of a space between the rows. So yeah, so you wouldn't sit right behind somebody, right in front of, I'm sorry, a tall person won't necessarily be right in front of you, and you're not going to be able to see. So, and that is nice.
It is, because, you know, even in a theater that's not graded, you know, I know I've if you don't want to be in the first row and you want to be in the third and fourth row, and you deliberately buy your seats, and then you sit down, and then right before the show starts, somebody with big hair or a tall person comes and sits down in front of you, and you find yourself focusing on moving from side to side to try to see the action on stage.
Exactly.
But you don't have to do that at Treasure Coast Theater.
Nope. And one of the nice things about our theater, because it's so small, it's very intimate. Well, there's two things. The first row actually accommodates, the seats are movable, so it accommodates up to 4 wheelchairs, which is nice. So we haven't had too many occasions where we've had 4 wheelchairs, but we have had that happen where we've had 4 wheelchairs in the front row. But even the front row is pretty set back from the stage. There's a good 7 feet between the front row and the stage, which allows for wheelchairs to maneuver. So even the first row isn't that close to the stage.
I was just going to say, if you're allowing the wheelchairs to maneuver in there, then that means you have extra space too.
Exactly.
So you feel like you're right on top.
Right. I've been to plenty of theaters where the first row is right up to the stage.
Yeah.
And a lot of people avoid the first row because of that, but you don't need to, because it's pretty far from the stage. But it's a nice intimate theater. And I have had quite a few people comment that because it's so intimate, they feel like they're part of the action. They're so close to the stage. There's so few people in the audience, and the stage is not so far away, that they feel like they're part of the action, which is really nice.
It is. It's kind of like almost between a regular theater and a black box type setting, because you do feel, and it also gives you the ability to present shows that are more intimate.
Exactly.
And you have the shows that you were talking about, you have an interesting mix of shows that people might recognize, like the Glass Menagerie, and A Few Good Men, and then shows that people may not have heard of before, like, is it 5 Women Wearing the Same Dress?
Yes. Yeah, it's actually, I think, an award-winning show, but it's not as common as it's kind of a dramedy, where there's some seriousness to it, and there's some mature themes to it, but it's also very funny as well. It's basically about 5 bridesmaids at an I can't say this word, at a lavish wedding. Let's put it that way, in the South, and they're all hiding out in the bedroom of one of the bridesmaids for one reason or another. They all have a reason to be hiding out. They don't want to be at the reception. So the entire bridal party of the women, anyway, are hiding out, and the whole show takes place in this one bedroom. And they all talk about their issues and basically why they're there. You never meet the bride, you never meet the groom. You do meet one of the bride's grooms, who has a relationship with one of the bridesmaids. But it's a very good show. I actually saw it performed down in Miami a few years back, and I really enjoyed it. And that's one of the reasons we're doing it, because we really love the show. But yeah, it's a show very few people have heard of, but it's known in some circles.
In the theater circles.
In the theater circles, yes. But the rest of we have a few shows that are just, zany comedies, that have not necessarily been on Broadway, but are well known in the community theater circles, like the Hope Jones and Wooten shows, and the In-Laws Outlaws and other people that should be shot show. But then some really well-known shows like Clue and A Few Good Men and the Glass Menagerie and the 2 Neil Simon shows. And then we're also, and Nonsense, which was an off-Broadway show that won awards. And then we're also doing a offbeat comedy that won the Tony. I forgot what year, the Tony and the Pulitzer. It's Vanya and Sasha and Masha and Spike. I always have to remember how to say that. That's our March show, excuse me. But that won the Tony a few years back. It was with Sigourney Weaver, I think, and David Hyde Pierce, and I forgot who else was in it, but it was a very well received show.
How do you decide what shows you're going to do, and how do you put the whole thing together as far as from when you first select the shows and you purchase the rights, and then you have as many people or more sometimes working behind the scenes as you do on stage?
Well, this is our second full season. So a lot of it, I mean, we have people who want to direct shows who present, oh, I'd love to do this. I'd love to do this. I'd love to do this. And, look at the show, see if it's something that our audiences would like. And if it is, then, we put it on the schedule. There's a lot of shows that are just shows that we've been wanting to do for a long time. And, now have the opportunity to do it. Shows like A Few Good Men and Clue, Love, Loss, and What I Wore. Those are shows that we have been wanting to do. Last year, one of my favorite shows was August Osage County, and On Golden Pond were two shows that I really, really wanted to do. I really, really wanted to do Broadway Bound is one of my favorite shows. So there's a number of shows that are on a bucket list for us. And then, as I said, other directors bring shows and say, hey, I really want to do this. My daughter loves The Glass Menagerie, and she really wanted to direct that. So, and I wanted to do a classic, and that's going to be our classic for the season. So yeah, there's a variety of reasons that we choose shows. I also look through lists of shows that have won awards. It helps if they were made into movies so people recognize them, but it's not necessary. But knowing that they've won awards and that they were very well received is a good reason.
I'm going to let you talk a little bit more and take us through then from the first show till the last show of the season, and talk about the dates you have set up, if you don't mind. So sure. Starting with the show that it is in July. Right.
Southern Hospitality is July. I have to look at my schedule here. I think it's July 9th through the 18th. July 9th through the 18th. We're only going to have 6 performances. Friday, Saturday, Sunday for both weekends. And that is a comedy. As I said earlier, it's about a family in Fayette, Texas, who are trying to save their little town by trying to convince a salsa factory to relocate there, and all the craziness that ensues while they try to do that, because they're not a conventional family. So that's our show in July. As I said, it's very funny. Our show in August is 5 women wearing the same dress. It's written by Alan Ball, who I believe has won a number of Tonys. I can't remember what shows he has been working on, but he's very well known. And that is August 6th through the 15th, again, 2 weekends. And again, that is 5 women who are bridesmaids in a wedding, who are hiding out in a bedroom, and there's a lot of comedy, and there's also a lot of I don't know if you want to say heartwarming situations, some drama involved, but it's also a very, very good show. September, okay, I have to look at the dates now. September 10th through the 26th. We're doing Love, Loss, and What I Wore. And that was written by, oh my God, what are the 2 sisters' names?
Nora
I can't think of them. Thank you, the Efron sisters. It's the Efron sisters. Thank you very much. Had a little bit of a brain freeze there. But yes, that's actually a little bit of an unconventional show. It was on Broadway, and there were 5 famous women who did that show. And it's mostly little skits. The 5 women play a variety of different characters who are talking about their life experiences through clothes, how clothes were a major part of their life experiences. And they're, again, heartwarming. There's some sadness, but a lot of very funny bits. There's, they talk about, being in dressing rooms and what mothers do to them, and getting married. And I mean, there's a whole bunch of different, very funny situations that they talk about. One of my favorites is called The Purse. And it's a good long monologue where a woman talks about everything that is in her purse. And I think it's something a lot of women can relate to. But I mean, it's good for men as well, because I think they can see the women in their lives in these stories. But it's a great show. It's been actually done a number of times. I'm trying to think of all the people that were in it on Broadway. I know it was Tyne Daly, Rosie O'Donnell, Samantha Bee, and I cannot remember the other 2 women. But it's a very good show, and that's September. October, we're doing The Glass Menagerie, which is a Tennessee Williams drama. And I have to give me a second, I'll get those dates. That would be October 8th through the 24th. And again, that is a Tennessee Williams classic drama set in the early 1930s during the Depression. And you've got a family, they are very dysfunctional. The mother is a fading belle, Southern belle, who lives vicariously through her kids and can't let go of the past. The son works in a factory and just wants to get out. And the daughter is disabled and probably has some mental health issues, and she doesn't leave the house. She basically lives through her little glass animals. And it's really, how these 3 interact and try to function in life. But it is based on, I think, Tennessee Williams.
And then if I remember correctly, the mom nags the brother to bring home a woman.
The gentleman caller, yes.
Yeah.
The mom's worried that the daughter is going to, the mom's worried because the son wants to leave. Her husband had left them like 15 years earlier, and the son's basically supporting them, and he wants to leave. And she's trying to get her daughter settled. So she asks her son to bring home a friend from work, and he's known as the gentleman caller, and to try to, get her daughter married off. And it's really what that's all about. So that's the October show. And then the November show is another holiday comedy, the In-Laws, Outlaws, and Other People That Should Be Shot. And that is November, let's see, that is the 12th through the 28th, I think. I think those dates are wrong.
Yeah. You can just say the November show.
November show.
Yeah. Okay.
That's a funny comedy about, it's a comedy. So a family trying to celebrate Christmas, and they get held up by bumbling robbers who have never robbed before, and people just keep showing up and keep getting, held hostage, and you get to the point where who's holding who hostage. It's very funny.
Yes.
January is Clue on Stage, which is based on the board game. So it's very similar to the board game and to the classic movie that was made, I don't know, but 20 years ago. Mm-hmm. Okay, February is Nonsense. It's the first musical that we're doing, and it's about a bunch of nuns I think they're trying to save their convent, so they put on a show. That won the Outer Critic Choice Award, and it's a very well-known musical, and it's very good. Yes. In March, we're doing the Tony Award-winning Vanya, Sonia, and Marsha and Spike, and it's basically a bunch of siblings who get together in their one house, and it's just they squabble, and it's all about their relationships, and it's a very good, it's funny, very funny, and it's very good. And as I said, it was Sigourney Weaver and David Hyde Price were in the Tony award-winning show. Okay, April is Prisoner of Second Avenue, Neil Simon. And this couple lose their jobs, and I think they get robbed, and they have all sorts of things that happen to them, and it's how they persevere. And it's a little crazy and zany, and it's a little dark for a comedy, but it is still very funny. Few Good Men in May, based on the movie of the same name. Two Marines get accused of murder, and these lawyers try to defend them. And then finally in June, we've got, we're closing out the season with Neil Simon's Broadway Bound, which is the last of a trilogy based on his life. Mm-hmm. And it's set in the late 40s, and these two brothers are trying to break out in show business, which is basically Neil Simon and his older brother, Eugene and Stanley. And they decide to use their family drama as the basis for a radio show. And that does not go over very well with their family. So that's the season in a nutshell.
It seems like the common thread is dysfunctionality and escapism. So I think, yeah. So I think that we can come and look at the people who are on stage that are worse than us. Somebody is delivering something to the door. So I'm going to give you the opportunity, Rosemary, to talk about how people can get in touch with the theater again.
Okay. You can get in touch with us a few ways. You can go on our website, which is www.treasurecoasttheater.com. You could also call us at 772-418-2439. You can come to the theater. We have somebody now in the box office most days till 3:00, from about 8 to 3. I think the only day someone's not going to be there, Tuesday and Sunday. Are the days that somebody's not there the whole day, but you can call on the phone and somebody will answer. You can go on our Facebook page and like us and get notifications that way. So there's a whole variety of ways you can get in touch with us.
And, as you said, liking Treasure Coast Theater on Facebook is one of the ways. And then you can say you want notifications. So you'll find out about new shows, auditions, ticket prices. It sounds like, one of the best bets is to buy the season tickets.
Absolutely.
So you get a cheaper rate for 5 or more shows. And then you get to pick the shows you want, right?
The shows, the seats, the sooner you do it, the better it is, because you can choose what seats you want. You have 5 shows, and you don't have to have the same seats for each show. It's not, not necessary if you want to sit in one row for one show and another row for the other one. As long as you contact us directly and not try to do it on your own on the website, you can pick whatever seats you want through us.
Do you have to go, like, if you purchase Friday night season tickets, you have to always go the first Friday?
Nope. You can go any day you want. Any day you want. You can go Friday for the first show, Sunday for the second show. You can do the third Sunday for the third show, the first Sunday for the 5th show. I mean, there's no set day, time, or anything.
For people who haven't been to community theater, I just want to say, instead of sitting on your couch at home and watching Netflix or some kind of TV show on a regular basis, break out of your rut and come and, because not only are you supporting community theater by coming to a show, you are going to be really pleasantly surprised by how entertaining it is.
Exactly.
And to get to see something that is different, and see that your life, your home life, your family, your holidays, is not as crazy as you might think, because you're going to see stuff on the stage that can be crazier than that.
Exactly. It's entertaining. A lot of our shows make you think. Some people don't like that. Some people just want to be entertained. But some of our shows are deeper, and we have a nice mix. Last year, as I said, the last show that we did was Doubt. There was a movie made with Meryl Streep and Amy Adams and Viola Davis, and actually we ended the show, every show, by asking the audience what they thought, who they, because the whole concept was the priest guilty of what he's being, accused of or not? Is there doubt? There's doubt, and that's what it's based on. And every night we had a mix of answers from the audience. So it's one of those where you really think about.
And that's the show that I went to, and I could not stop talking about it on the way home. I was just, even at intermission, I was blown away by the level of talent that was on that stage. And the writing is good, the acting is good, when you forget that you were at a show and you just feel like this is something that is unfolding in front of you, that you are part of the show and part of a greater something. So
thank you.
Rosemary Knight, if that show was any example of the level of shows, I know that you're going to have a really terrific second season. The 2021-2022 season for Treasure Coast Theater kicks off in July, and you can go to their website, www.treasurecoasttheater.com, or go to their Facebook page and get more information. It's really a terrific opportunity if you want to try out, or if you just want to sit back and be entertained, or if you want a nice little outing with your friends, or something to do for something different for somebody's birthday, to enjoy together. So Rosemary Knight has been my guest today. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you. Good talking to you again.
Yeah, and we will look forward to seeing you on stage, introducing your shows, and hopefully you'll come back and talk some more about your season later in the season.
Would love to. Thank you.
You've been listening to the Sue Ellen Sanders Show, and I'm here every week with more. Thanks for joining me.
The Sue Ellen Sanders Show weekends. Look at WPSL.com. Find the programming schedule to find out how many times you can actually watch this show over the weekend on WPSL Radio. This is WPSL Port.